Good afternoon. We're at the Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport, Airport Identifier KPUJ.
All right. Well, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm going to start this off. What's your name?
My name is David Ross, DavidRoss.
So what is your age?
I'm 21 years old.
All right.
Yep, I started working here straight out of high school.
All right. What's your job title and what do you do here?
My official job title is lineman, and essentially what that is everyday operations of the airport, mainly specializing on the technical aspects like fueling aircraft and towing them with a machine called a tug to move the aircraft, and generally knowing basic maintenance or mechanical operations of an aircraft.
All right. So what services do you offer here?
Currently, our services include fueling aircraft, moving aircraft on the ground to designated parking spots, scheduling rental cars and hotel rooms for visitors, and general concierge services, including scheduling hotel rooms and giving knowledgeable recommendations to different businesses around the community.
All right. So what does a typical day look like here?
A typical day starts off with, usually I'm the one that comes and unlocks the FBO, which is stands for Fixed Base Operator. It's the organization that does operations on the airfield in terms of technical work. So I'll unlock that, I'll set everything up at the front desk, and from there we switch on our radios to monitor the aviation band of radio. And we help out with anything in general that needs to be done around the airport maintenance-wise, but we always monitor the radio. I've got my own personal radio right here, and whenever an aircraft comes in, either they'll taxi off of the taxiway out to their hangars, the privately rented hangars, or they'll taxi across the ramp, which is the concrete out here. And I'll go outside and marshal them in, which is using special hand movements that both linemen and the pilots memorize as part of their work duties. And I'll marshal them into a certain position to get them parked, and from there I'll welcome them to Paulding County and ask them if they need any services like fuel or any maintenance services with their on the field maintenance crew. And from there, whenever we go inside, we could set up rental cars, or if they have a rental car scheduled ahead of time through a phone call, I'll drive it out on the ramps to meet them at the aircraft. So we have rental cars and hotel rooms, or just answering general questions. Sometimes we'll have VIPs fly in, and the VIP will get in a SUV directly off the aircraft and into the SUV, so it's the minimal publicity. They'll drive off the ramp, and from there I take care of the pilots at the airport until the VIP gets back, and they'll take off, and try to keep everything as secure as possible.
All right. So I'm interested. What is the most challenging thing that you faced on the job here?
The most challenging thing I've faced here, I would say, was an incident where an aircraft ended up going across the ramp out of control and ended up hitting our facility. Obviously, I can't get into too much detail with that due to liability, but ultimately what ended up happening was the aircraft was heading towards me at the fuel farm, and I've had extensive safety training. Whenever I noticed that the aircraft was coming towards me, I was actually helping customers, and I told them, to run the opposite direction from the fuel farm, which is, the fuel farm is the fuel tanks on the field where we used to fuel aircraft rather than bringing the truck out to them if they wanted to get over there. It's like a gas station for cars except for aircraft.
Yeah.
But the aircraft was actually barreling towards the fuel tanks. So I told the customers to run the other way, and I ran and hit the fuel shutoff button before the aircraft was able to make it towards the tank. And the purpose of that is to shut off any chances of an explosion, or trailing off anywhere else. So,
Yeah.
It's things like that are a little bit stressful. Obviously, whenever you're marshaling aircraft, you have the propeller, towards you. Obviously, you have a safe distance. You want to make sure a good distance away from the aircraft. you know, it can be stressful, but as long as you know what you're doing, you had proper training, it's much safer than everyone makes it out to be.
All right. So what is one of the most interesting things you've done here?
Actually, I've got two for you. The first one I could think of is every now and then we do business with the military, and they'll come out here and do practice, kind of like what these helicopters out here are doing right now. They're doing firefighting training where they have Bambi buckets and with water and practice dropping on a specific spot. But the military will come in and fly rotocraft, kind of like this.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting military aircraft I've fueled includes the V-22 Osprey. And that one it has two rotors that either can be directed upwards or forwards. It kind of looks like a vehicle from the video game Halo. But typically those things are used on Coast Guard. The purpose of those is that they can, take off like a helicopter or use a full-on runway, and they have a considerable speed. But I ended up doing hot fueling with those when I was at the Jet Center, which means while the engines are running, I park the fuel truck as close as I can without it being dangerous, and then I'll pull the fuel line up to it and fuel it while the engine is running.
Oh wow.
That one requires a good bit of training, so that one was definitely fun to do. The second one I could think of that was actually pretty interesting was whenever their negotiations were taking place at the airport in terms of the airport being commercial or not. Ultimately, it was decided that instead of being a commercial airport, we'll instead do business with Chattahoochee Technical College, and we'll be opening an aircraft repair school on the field. And that's going to be in progress for the next 2 to 3 years, I'd say. Maybe a little bit longer than that. Don't quote me on that. But I know that we're going to have them out here. Anyways, whenever the negotiations were being done for that, we actually had Governor Nathan Deal fly in. And I was lucky enough to be able to marshal in his aircraft onto the ramp and handle all the ground operations. We also do other VIP operations, including Caleb Lee Hutchison from South Paulding.
Ah.
He flew in for a little bit. We've had country stars do concerts in the city of Dallas downtown, and I've conducted ground operations for that. And we also, just recently, we got contacted from Andrews Air Force Base on the possibility of a VIP 757 flying in.
Wow.
And at the time, it was actually planning for a political rally. So we almost had Air Force One in here. We were second in line for that. The first one ended up going to the Rome Airport because at the time our ILS was down, which is the instrument landing system.
Yeah.
Since then, we've got it up and running. So.
All right.
So hopefully next time we'll have them come in.
Very interesting. Got the question, do you enjoy working here?
Absolutely. This is one of the best jobs I've ever had. The flexibility of the shifts here is, it's not comparable to any other job I've had. The thrill of working with aircraft and complicated machinery like I do is once in a lifetime experience for some people, and I get to do it every day. I also get to talk to all these amazing individuals, the pilots and the VIPs, and it's a truly surreal experience.
Very cool. Thank you for coming out this evening. I'm appreciative of you taking your time out to be included in this interview, and of course, I hope you have a great evening.
Well, thank you. You too.